You know that I can't speak Malayalam, so please excuse me for that. But I look very similar to someone whom you already know, who says Priya Mitro. But I'm looking similar, but I'm totally different. Priya Mitro, my friends, I'm so honored that the first award of Veerendra Kumarji is being presented to an ordinary activist like me. This is an honor because, what do the ordinary activists like me and Rajendra Singh get? What is the reward we get? I think most of you are aware of it, but not clearly. The first, we say upahas, ridicule. The first award is ridicule. Like now today, tree huggers. Who are these tree huggers people? A kind of ridicule, upahas in Hindi we say. Second is upeksha. Upeksha means totally neglect. Neglect what we say. The greatest document of Western Ghats Ecology Panel, Madhav Gadigal's whole treatise on Western Ghats, how to be saved, totally neglect. So, first is ridicule, second is upeksha, neglect, and the third one is much more dangerous, which Ramji has very specially pointed out. But let me tell you that when you were the editor, it was the Hindu which published Bhogunaji's article on Opiko first. That was the first article in Hindu. So I thank you for that, which was very great. So it is different from the kind of ridicule or neglect. But the third one which I say is anti-development. We are kind of stamped as anti-development. And today, as Rajendra Singh was telling, and Ramji has pointed out in his speech that how dangerous it is for reporting. Let me tell you that the most threatened species is environmental journalists, because they are being targeted as anti-national. So those who want to protect Mother Earth have become anti-national. Third reward is, as I said, apaman, which is insulting. So that happens because you don't toe the line of the thing. You are swimming against the tide, which means you have to ready for all this kind of three insults. But today, it is a totally different kind of recognition. And the recognition which comes, Shreyas is one, but what I say is from a person, with a social, we say socialist and loyal background. But it is a background with a socialism with an Indian soul, soul from our land. And that is where I say it is not just economic justice, social justice, but ecological justice. That is what Veerendra Kumarji stood for. For us, for Chipko, Sundarlalji, it took 10 years to put a ban on green felling of trees. For Apiko, it took 6 years to bring that policy change. But you will be surprised. We know about Lal Bahadur Shastri that when a train accident happened, he resigned. We are all very well. But we hardly know that Veerendra Kumarji was minister for 48 hours. And he ordered that no green tree should be cut. And that ban he bought. And within 48 hours, he also resigns. This is very unique. And I'm very happy that in the memory of such person, we are getting the award. And that makes it very, very relevant for a people which is... why this feeling for Veerendra Kumarji? First of all, I think, Wayanad and the region he comes from represents the coffee estates which they own, the Jain community owns. I think it's very, very linked to, if you see the kind of plantation economy in Kerala, you see monoculture. I call it rubber culture. But in Wayanad, because you have to grow coffee, you have to have the indigenous trees. So the biodiversity is part of the plantation economy there. And Veerendra Kumarji's roots are in this kind of diversity. Not only in the forest, but also diversity of the perspectives which he respected. Who else in the whole political scenario, like Ramakrishna Hegde, which is who is from our place, has a different kind of value system, though being in politics. And Veerendra Kumarji had that kind of value system. If you look at the socialists, they always fight. Some issues they fight. But Veerendra Kumarji was someone who would bring people together of different values, different diversity. And I think that is very, very important. And not only Pachimada, which Rajniti Singh referred, but also his fight against GMOs or the WTO and GATT. It is very important because no other politician was able to kind of comprehend the issues. But he was able to understand that and support the movement for that. Just everybody's, even the citation you said, very beautiful thing. But let me tell you that Chipko and Apiko is just a symbolic act. It is a symbolic act to protect trees. But we are questioning the basis of development itself. What is development? That is being questioned by Chipko and Apiko. And as a commoner, as a common people, as an activist, I would say, does it make a sense to eat your own capital? In the business, does it make a sense if you consume your own capital? And today's development is exactly doing that. You know how? For example, you said about soil. Annually, 5.3 billion tons of soil is eroded. 5.3 billion tons. It is about 2.5% of the GDP. And if you come to water, 163 million people do not get access to drinking water. Every day, 500 children die because they cannot get clean water and end up with diarrhea. And 98% of the river. We come from a culture, we say, we pray or we kind of respect the flowing river. Ganga is sacred, but all the rivers are sacred. Bharatipula is also sacred. But 98% of our rivers, this is by the Central Pollution Control Board, except that 98% of the rivers are polluted. And then coming to air, I don't need to say, the kind of air pollution which is going on. It costs US dollars 22 billion per year loss and 3% of the GDP. So, my basic question is this development? What we are questioning is why we say this is development. Today, in the Indian Express, I saw the 4th year of celebration of the government here. And one of the ads, which really, I don't know whether I should laugh at it or really take it seriously. It said, 171,000 waste collected, one of the achievements. And 3,700 metric tons of shredded plastic waste. This is an achievement. I'm really kind of, we have forgotten what is development. And this is where I point out that, just by changing the policies, it might have a positive impact. But today, we have forgotten the basic tenets of development, of basic things of what is human development, what is that is needed, because the line between the need and the greed is gone. There is no need left. Everything is greed. For me, I think this is very, very crucial because the kind of consumptive lifestyle is going to have a very drastic impact, not only on the climate change, but in everyday life. So, whatever the kind of alternate technology of solar, wind, non-fossil fuel, it is not going to help us, dear friends, unless we make it a point to walk gently on this earth. And how to walk gently has been, proven from days of Buddha. He said, peace begins when our cravings end. But our cravings end, everybody has this. And we have become so individualistic that the virtual reality, we think it is the reality. And the kind of cravings we have is unlimited. And with this kind of unlimited cravings, what we are going to do is put a major impact. What we say is footprints is enormous. And unless we address this consumptive lifestyle, I don't think we are going to save environment. Let me tell you a short story about. I think you know about this. Leo Tolstoy's very famous story. Maybe some of the elders, people like Ram, they know because they studied in the school, which the title is How Much Land You Need. This is from Leo Tolstoy. One farmer is there in a village and he is not satisfied with a small farmland. He looks at the other farmer who has a lot of land. He thinks, okay, let me own more land. So he goes to another village asking, how much is there a land which is cheaper I can buy? He says, look, here it costs this much, but I know another village where if you go, he gives it to you free. He says, where is it? He said, look, you go to this village and ask. And there he goes, and it is true. He says, look, if you walk through the day and come back to the same point, and marking all the way with your spade, that is your land, free. He was so happy that, look, I can own all this land. So he starts making a mark with the spade and goes along. And by the time it is evening, he is rushing to come back to the original point. So he runs and runs to make more land. And when he arrives by the evening, he's exhausted and dead. So how much land he needs to bury? Just a small one. I think this really conveys the idea what kind of craving, what kind of materialistic civilization we want to copy or try to emulate, which is attacking, or which is kind of exploiting all our resources. And our friend Rajan Singh ji is not here, but there is like Amrita Devi, who hugged the trees in the Rajasthan deserts. She comes from a community called Bishnoi. We know Bishnoi is a very well-known community in Rajasthan. Bishnoi means bees now, Bishnoi, 20 and 9 percepts. These are the rules to be followed in the desert where they respect the trees, they respect the wildlife. And when the Amrita Devi saw that the trees, Khejaldi trees are being cut by the axemen of the king, she hugged the trees as well as 257 people offered their life. That was the first chippu. So this was by the Bishnoi community. And I think India has an excellent tradition of how to not only conserve the trees and the environment, but live together. And I think we need to go back to that kind of ideology to try to fit in as how we can live gently. Now, coming back to the Mathrubhumi itself, you know, again, I am very honored that in 1923, the paper which is started by the Madhavan Nair and Keshavan Menon with the concept of adopting Gandhi's ideas. And you have done excellent with Veerendra Kumarji's leadership, where from 2 editions to 14, 16 editions. And then the digital editions of Mathrubhumi TV also. 15 editions. Now, with this kind of support, you know, I feel Mathrubhumi, trying to protect Mathrubhumi, I mean, what we saw the last month, external threat, is one where we need to get united. But my question is, within us, I mean, within the internal contradictions or threats is destroying Mother Earth, Mathrubhumi. For example, our soil is totally being poisoned with pesticides. And we are killing lakhs and lakhs of bees and earthworms. And then we say, look, we cannot get the food which is nutritious. And we destroy the pure water in the rivers and then try to find technical answers to purify it. Similarly, we try to kind of purify the air. But my question is, when we are losing so much, the internal threat to Mathrubhumi is much serious than the external threat. And today, if you look at the newspapers or media, the response, if the share market crashes, everybody is worried. But we lose billions of dollars of nature's capital, of soil, water and air. I mean, there is hardly a mention. Isn't it strange, dear friends? I mean, look at the contradictions of our own approach. And what I request is that Mathrubhumi, which has played a very dominant role during the freedom struggle, now that agenda is not finished. And with the youngsters like Devika and Mayuri, and all these youngsters, you have a much more responsibility to give voice to these people who are fighting for Mother Earth. You know, these are the grassroots activists who are real foot soldiers of Mother Earth. And my request is that in keeping the legacy of Veerendra Kumarji, if you try to give at least a major kind of space in your media outlet to this kind of people who are fighting to conserve Mother Earth, that will be a very great contribution, not only for the Mother Earth, but the idea of Veerendra Kumarji himself. That is my sincere request. And while accepting the speech award, let me say that this is not to me personally. It is to all those who are fighting for the cause of Western Ghats. You know, they are giving voice to the voiceless, to the rivers, to the mountains. You know, here are our friends from Wayanad Prakriti Samrakshana Samiti who are fighting for almost 40 years, like with Chipko. And I think that you have recognized them through me. So I'm grateful for that. And lastly, you know, this is a huge amount for us. So I would like to say that this entire amount will go back to the community or the people who are working, because it belongs to them. So the award as well as the award money will go back to them so that we strengthen the grassroots movement to protect the forest and to continue the legacy of Veerendra Kumar. Thank you for honoring me.